Hey guys, welcome back to WatchGauge. I hope this video finds everybody doing very well and healthy during this holiday season, and if you celebrate Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah, and if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to you, and anything else you celebrate, I hope you're all happy. Today I want to talk briefly about Zodiac, and more specifically, the Zodiac Super Sea Wolf. I've got kind of a reproduction of a vintage Zodiac logo slash ad behind me, and I'm rocking the Super Sea Wolf. So the Super Sea Wolf and Zodiac are very near and dear to my heart for many more reasons than I sell them on WatchGauge. I'll give you a very, very brief history. About 4 years before I started WatchGauge, I actually interviewed to run Zodiac here in the United States, and I had gone down to the Basel Group's headquarters a few times for interviews and discussions, and long story short, I was expecting an offer on a Friday that I was told that was coming on a Friday, and on Thursday, the night before, the executive vice president in charge of, I guess, their luxury watch division resigned, and that position got put on hold and actually didn't get filled, I think, for like 2 years after that. So if that had happened, I probably wouldn't be doing this video with you right now, because who knows where my career would have taken me. So all things that happen are a blessing, but back then, I had already been a fan of Zodiac. I had actually owned one or two prior to even interviewing with them. And a very good friend of mine by the name of Phil Schwetz actually ran Zodiac back in the 1990s here in the United States. During my interviewing process and stuff, he shared a bunch of vintage ads. I guess it was more of a newsletter that they sent out, and back then there wasn't really the internet, so they actually mailed these out to thousands of clients like every other month, I think it was. Which just goes to show you how different things are in this world than they were just a mere 20 years ago. Now I'm sitting in my office shooting a video, and within an hour and a half, it's going to be up on YouTube and you guys will be watching it. So this world has changed immensely, particularly in the watch arena. So let's talk about a brief history of Zodiac, and again, more specifically, the Super Sea Wolf. Like many Swiss brands out there, Zodiac was founded many years ago, back in the late 1800s. And there was a lot that went on and a lot that the brand did, but let's fast forward to 1953. In 1953, at Basel World, or what was known then as the Basel Fair, there were three major watches introduced that year. One of them being the Glycine Airman, another one being the Blancpain FiftyFathoms, and the third one being the Zodiac Super Sea Wolf. Now, the Zodiac Super Sea Wolf and the Blancpain FiftyFathoms are noted to be the very first commercially available dive watches. Now, sure, I know you're going to say that, yeah, there have been waterproof watches before that and watches that were more or less advertised as being able to go swimming in. But in 1953, when the Blancpain FiftyFathoms were released and the Zodiac Super Sea Wolf were released, they were the first dive watches with rotating bezels, now are what, as we know, as dive watches. An interesting fact is that that year when they were introduced, the Super Sea Wolf, which actually had more water depth rating than the Blancpain FiftyFathoms. The 50 Fathoms was rated to 300 feet, where the Zodiac Super Sea Wolf was rated to 10 atmospheres or 339 feet. Now, I know a lot of Rolex fans are going to come out and say, well, the Submariner was also a 1953 watch. Well, technically it was. The first production models were coming off the production line in 1953. However, it wasn't until the 1954 Basel World or Basel Fair that they were introduced. Now, one of the reasons that Zodiac is so near and dear to my heart, particularly here on WatchGauge, is because if you want a Blancpain FiftyFathoms or a Rolex Submariner in stainless steel, you're going to be paying close to, if not more, than 5 figures. As many of you know, those watches are north of $10,000 these days, where the Zodiac Super Sea Wolf, albeit people will argue it's not a Rolex Submariner or a Blancpain FiftyFathoms, they're usually coming in the $1,000 to $2,000 range. So moving on with a little bit of a brief history, Zodiac, like many brands, had a very difficult time during the quartz crisis. They fell into non-production. They were restarted up again at some point, and then they kind of worked their way through the 90s, trying to get back to the glory of what they once were. And in 2001, they were acquired by the Fossil Group. Fossil, everybody knows as this mega giant of a corporation that sells Fossil watches and different handbags and designer watches such as Diesel and Michelle and a handful of others. Well, in 2001, they wanted to get involved in the luxury watch segment, and they did so by acquiring Zodiac. This gave Zodiac the cash infusion that it needed to be able to grow and act as a major corporation. But again, one of the things I really love about Zodiac, as they are run as an independent watch brand, and they actually operate almost like a micro brand. Obviously not a micro brand, but they're very in tune with their clientele, with their social media. And on the production level, their production numbers are very, very low when you look at other major brands. A good example of this is the limited edition pieces that Zodiac does. If you'll notice, most of the limited editions that they do have been either 82 pieces, 182 pieces, or 282 pieces. Now 82 being a special number because 1882 was the year that Zodiac was founded. Another interesting aspect of Zodiac is they technically, and some may argue this, use in-house movements. Now Zodiac themselves didn't design or manufacture them in Zodiac's production facility. However, a few years after the Fossil Group acquired Zodiac, they also acquired STP, also known as Swiss Technology Products, which is a movement maker. So using the term in-house loosely, Fossil Group owns Zodiac, they own STP, and Zodiac primarily uses ST movements in their watches. So I just got in 4 pieces of the new Zodiac Super Sea Wolf compression automatics. Now technically all 4 models that I received are the same model, just different executions of them. Available right now on WatchGauge, I've got the black dial, black bezel on rubber with the orange minute hand, which is also the same model I actually have for myself. I got in the silver dial version with the black bezel, as well as the traditional black dial and black bezel. And finally, I got the two-tone stainless steel and yellow gold plated with a gold colored black bezel with gold rimmed markings on the dial as well as hands. So the specs on all 4 of these are identical. They're 40 millimeters in diameter. The case thickness is 14 millimeters, 20 millimeter lug to lug, with an STP 1-11 automatic, which by the way has a 44-hour power reserve and a quick change date. And all 4 versions are water resistance to 20 ATM or 656 feet deep. As always, I will be getting in more Zodiacs over time. I always have my thumb on the pulse with the brand about their limited editions that are coming out. And naturally with those, they sell so quickly, I want to get my hands on as many of those as possible. And for those of you who aren't very familiar with the history of Zodiac and love learning about watches, I would implore you to do some research. There are a lot of great blog articles by Worn and Wound, Gear Patrol, Hodinkee, and all the great blogs out there on Zodiac. One thing that I particularly find fun in is seeking out some of their old advertisements. As a dive watch guy myself and somebody who gets nostalgic about vintage watches and the watch industry, some of their vintage ads are so cool. So guys, go check out the Zodiac Super Sea Wolves on WatchGauge. If there are any Zodiac models that you're interested in that you don't see on WatchGauge, email me at john@watchgauge.com. If it's available, I can get it for you for sure. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the little bell icon so you can be alerted every time we have a new video pop up here on YouTube. If you haven't, please subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. And once again, thank you guys so much. I truly appreciate all of your support. So we'll talk to you guys real soon. Take care.